The House will come to order. Members, please register. Have all members registered? A quorum is present. Will the House and gallery please rise for the invocation which will be offered by the chaplain?
Father of mercies, you know the hearts of us all. Grant us a spirit of repentance, true contrition for our sins, and a desire to follow you more closely this day, filled with the hope of your promise of eternal life for those who walk in your ways. In a particular way, we ask you to watch over those who have traveled to be present for Catholic Advocacy Day, especially the bishops and students. May their witness and the witness of all those whom we serve for these legislators and the work that they do bear fruit in the enactment of laws in accordance with your divine plan. We ask this in the name of your Son, Christ Jesus our Lord. Amen.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Glenn Rogers of Palo Pinto County to lead us in the pledges of allegiance to the United States and Texas flags.
Please join me in pledging to the greatest nation in the world. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And to the great state of Texas. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
The chair will now hear excuses for absent members. Please excuse Mr. Schaefer because of important business in the district on the motion of Mr. Metcalf. Please excuse Mr. Dean for today and the remainder of the week on the motion of Mr. Shine. Please excuse Ms. Gervin Hawkins for important business in the district on the motion of Ms. Morales-Shaw. The objection, chair hears none, so ordered.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Doorkeeper.
Mr. Speaker, I have a messenger from the Senate at the door of the House.
Admit the messenger.
Mr. Speaker, I'm directed by the Senate to inform the House that the Senate has taken the following action. The Senate has passed the following measures. SB 24, Coal Course, relating to the powers and duties of the Health and Human Services Commission and the transfer to the Commission of certain powers and duties from the Department of Family and Protective Services. SB 240, Campbell, relating to workplace violence prevention in certain health facilities. SB 380, Zaffarini, relating to payment of certain court costs associated with interpreters. SB 384, Coal Course, relating to the sale, design, and manufacture of clear
Thank
liners.
you, sir.
Thank you.
The chair has recognized Dr. Ulabume Ujulade from Rowlett as the doctor of the day. Members, we're about to begin consideration of today's resolutions. Please take your conversations outside the rails. Following announcement, the clerk will read the announcement.
The Committee on Defense and Veterans Affairs will meet today upon adjournment at Rep. Ray Lopez's desk number 36, in a formal meeting to consider pending and referred business.
The chair recognizes Mr. Tinderholt for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend all necessary rules, take up and consider House Resolution 685.
Members, you heard the motion to object from the chair. Here's none, and the rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 685 by Tinderholt, congratulating the Texas Rangers on their 51st anniversary in Arlington.
The chair recognizes Mr. Tinderholt to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, originating as the Washington Senators in 1961, longtime Arlington Mayor Tom Vandergriff began working in the late 1950s to bring Major League Baseball to North Texas, resulting in the relocation, rebrand, and rebirth of the Washington Senators as the Texas Rangers in 1972. In April 1994, the Rangers christened the ballpark in Arlington and competed there for 26 seasons. Many folks from all across Texas have found fond memories of attending Rangers games there. Since 2020, they've played at Globe Life Field, a world-class stadium fit for a world-class organization. In all, Texas has secured 7 division crowns and made 8 postseason appearances. And in 2010 and 11, the Rangers thrilled their fans by claiming consecutive American League pennants to earn back-to-back appearances in the World Series. Among the legendary players who have worn a Rangers uniform are catcher Ivan Pudge Rodriguez and pitchers Ferguson Jenkins, Gaylord Perry, and Nolan Ryan, all National Baseball Hall of Fame members.
Members, take your conversations outside the rails.
In 1989, Mr. Ryan became the first pitcher in Major League Baseball history to record 5,000 career strikeouts. And in 1990 and 91, he threw 2 of his 7 career no-hitters with Texas. The Texas Rangers have made significant contributions to the Lone Star State's proud legacy of athletic excellence, and I know all of those associated with the organization take pride in this notable heritage. Please join me in congratulating and honoring the Texas Rangers for 51 years of excellence and contributions to the Lone Star State and the North Texas community. Members, Rangers Executive Vice President of Business Operations Rob Matwick and former Texas Rangers All-Star first baseman Mark Teixeira will be in the back hall afterwards for pictures.
The chair recognizes Mr. Bajani.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, howdy, Texas Rangers. Welcome to the Texas House of Representatives. It is an honor to have you all celebrating the 51st anniversary of this team. The Rangers are a team I came to know and love from Arlington. They're who my kids cheered for during back-to-back World Series, and they are a testament to the tenacity and athleticism of Texas. Today, we have the privilege of sharing the House with the best baseball team in the country. While ping pong may be my favorite sport, baseball has to be a close second. From your stadium at the Globe Life Field to your mascot captain, here's to another year of greatness for the Texas Rangers. Thank you for joining us at the Capitol today. Thank you for representing Texas every day.
Good job.
The chair recognizes Mr. Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I just want to congratulate the Texas Rangers on their recent signing of Mark Teixeira, who has guaranteed that the World Championship will be in North Texas instead of South Texas next season. So hot news, but just want to say thank you and welcome to the Texas House, to the Texas Rangers. Thank you.
The speaker strongly disagrees with that statement. Chair recognizes Mr. Schleitzlein. Chair recognizes Mr. Tinderholt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, thank you to the Texas Rangers for being in our Capitol today. I move adoption.
The question occurs on the adoption resolution. Objection, chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes Mr. Hunter for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move pass all necessary rules to pass H.R. 544.
Members, you heard the motion and objection. The chair hears none. The rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 544 by Hunter, recognizing March 28, 2023 as Aransas County Day at the state capitol.
The chair recognizes Mr. Hunter to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm joined by Representative Morrison and Representative Raymond. It's my honor to notice that today in the state capitol is Aransas County Day. Stand up there, my friends in Aransas. For all those, we're talking about a great coastal community, Rockport, Fulton, the Lamar Peninsula. We've got the Aransas County, our Rockport Chamber up there. We've got leadership, Aransas. We have our County Judge Garza, Mayor J. Rowe, Mayor Cole, Sheriff Mills, Superintendent Garcia, all of you up there. We want to thank you for coming to the Capitol, and we've even got Representative Kemple up here. And Mr. Speaker, they're growing the first mariculture oysters and shipping them to Austin. Yeah. Welcome to Aransas County. Move passage.
The question occurs on the adoption of the resolution. The objection, the chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes Dr. Anderson for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 722, recognizing March 28th as Waco Day at the state capitol.
Members, you heard the motion. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and the rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
By Anderson, recognizing March 28th, 2023 as Waco Day at the state capitol.
The chair recognizes Dr. Anderson to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm joined by Representative Orr, who helped chair part of McLennan County. And let me say this is a great day for Waco. We have quite a few people here to visit the Capitol. And Waco is known as the crossroads because we have I-35 north and south, and we have Highway 6 east and west, which positions Waco for a tremendous potential for economic development. And we're certainly seeing that with the activity of our Greater Waco Chamber of Commerce. So with us today, and if you all would please stand as I call your name, we have Waco Mayor Dylan Meek. Dylan's doing an outstanding job. Waco City Council Member Jim Holmes. Jim, thank you. McLennan County Judge Scott Felton. Thank you, Scott. McLennan County Commissioner Ben Perry. There you are, Ben. Outstanding. McLennan County Commissioner Pat Miller, Precinct 2. All right. Midway Independent Board Member and Greater Waco Chamber Policy Chair Rick Tullis. There he is. Okay, good deal. Greater Waco Chamber Board Chair Philip Patterson. Outstanding. And Greater Waco Chamber President, CEO Matt Meadors and his wife. And we want to thank Jacob Hogan for putting all this together today. They're going to be here all day, and they have quite a lineup of speakers, so that'll be very interesting. And we're honored to have Representative Orr. She's doing a great job for us. And so, and let me say, members, oftentimes you hear the Heart of Texas term thrown around. Actually, Dallas sometimes calls itself the heart of Texas. Sometimes Austin calls itself heart of Texas. But the absolute heart of Texas is Waco, Texas. And we appreciate you all being here today. Thank you. Move passage.
The question occurs on the adoption of the resolution. Is objection? The chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. The chair lays out the following previously adopted resolution. The clerk will read the caption.
H.R. 336 bimanual commending Texas agroforestry, small farmers and ranchers for its contributions to historically underdeserved agricultural producers.
The chair recognizes Mr. Manuel.
Good morning, everyone, Mr. Speaker and members. Established in 2017, the Texas Agri-Forester Small Farmers and Ranchers mission is to promote a sustainable environment of natural resources in underserved rural communities. Overall, they help small farmers and ranchers become successful. Today, their outreach efforts include sponsoring an annual agriculture and forestry summits to include USDA agriculture agencies with a platform to provide social disadvantaged farmers and ranchers information regarding these programs, technical assistance, research and development, assisting with the development of sustainable agriculture markets, property and improvement environmental justice conditions in rural Texas. Moreover, it's advocates for small farmers and ranchers at local, state, and national levels. TASFR has greatly benefited communities throughout the Lone Star State and beyond, and all those associated with the organization may indeed take pride in their exponential efforts.
Members, please take your conversations outside the building.
I want to ask the people in the gallery to please stand up. Mr. J.W. Neal, the chairman. We have Mr. Clout Boston, Mr. Ike Mills, the executive director, Mrs. Willie B. Scott, Mr. Joseph Johnson, Mrs. Dolores Mills, and Mrs. Clout. And I want to welcome you to your capital and thank you all for everything that you do. And Ike, I love you very much. Thank you for being here.
The chair recognizes Mr. Jatan for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 686 for honoring the members of the 8th grade class of the St. Lawrence Catholic School in Sugar Land.
Members, you heard the motion's objection. The chair hears none, and the rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 686 by Jatan, honoring the members of the 8th grade class of St. Lawrence Catholic School in Sugar Land on the occasion of their visit to the state capitol.
The chair recognizes Mr. Jatan to explain the resolution.
Here this morning we have several members from the St. Lawrence Catholic School in Sugar Land. If y'all want to stand up and be recognized, for more than 3 decades, St. Lawrence Catholic School has provided young Texans with a strong foundation on which to build, and the school is indeed deserving of special recognition. I want to recognize the students, parents, and educators here with us today from St. Lawrence Catholic School, and welcome to their Texas Capitol. Thanks for coming out. Move adoption.
The question occurs on the adoption of the resolution. The objection, the chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes Mr. Moody for a motion.
Mr. Speaker and members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 623.
Members, you heard the motion. As objection, the chair hears none, and the rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 623 by Moody, recognizing April 2nd, 2023 as Education and Sharing Day in honor of Rabbi Menachem Schneerson.
The chair recognizes Mr. Moody to explain the resolution. Members, please take your conversations outside the rails.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. We talk a lot about education and giving in this body, and we do our best to walk the walk in those areas as we consider legislation. We have no better example to follow than the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Menachem Mendel Schneerson. Since 1978, his life's work has been commemorated annually as Education and Sharing Day, and I'm honored to present this resolution recognizing it here in the Texas House of Representatives. The Rebbe was dedicated to providing educational opportunities to students around the world, and he opened thousands of schools during his lifetime. He also emphasized the importance of charity as a habitual practice, as has been put to me, turning random acts of kindness into routine acts of kindness. By giving, we not only provide assistance to others, we also turn our minds and spirits towards service and build a practice of compassion and duty to our community. That tradition is something I see carried on in my own hometown by the Chabad Lubavitch of El Paso's Ark Giving Project. These arks are like little piggy banks for charity, and they work just the same way, except when you put a coin or a bill in here in your home, like I'm doing now, you are saving not for yourself, but for others. There is one of these on each of your desks today. We want you to help spread this practice of institutionalizing charity in your homes. Your offices will also receive them. I encourage you not just to give, but to reflect on what giving means. We have a long way to go this session, and I can't think of a better way of turning our hearts and our minds to the service we've been called to here. Please join me in recognizing this incredible faith community here in the north side of our, if you can please stand. They are here to visit with you in your offices and spread the message of Education and Sharing Day. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to your Texas House, and I move passage.
The question occurs on the adoption resolution. The objection, chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. Dr. Oliverson moves that all members' names of the resolution. The objection, chair hears none. So ordered. The chair recognizes Mr. Casal for a recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members. Also, as a part of Catholic Advocacy Day, today we are joined in the gallery to my right by 10 of our Catholic bishops. We have not only Bishop Vasquez of Austin, Mr. Moody would like to pop in on sites.
Yes, recognize me.
Bishop Strickland, Tyler, Tamayo Laredo, Bishop, Archbishop Gustavo San Antonio, Bishop Boulette from San Antonio, Bishop Kelly from Dallas, Bishop Toops from Beaumont, Bishop Avias from Brownsville, and Bishop Emeritus Pfeiffer from San Angelo. Bishops, thank you and God bless.
The chair recognizes Mr. Moody for recognition.
Thank you very much. And I asked Mr. Casal to leave Bishop Seitz off his list because I specifically wanted to recognize Bishop from El Paso, Bishop Seitz. Thank you for the work that you've done in ushering our community through some of the darkest days we've faced. Your leadership and your faith and the example that you put out in our community is something that we would not be in the place we are today if it weren't for your work. So thank you.
The chair recognizes Ms. Howard for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 593.
Members, you heard the motion. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and the rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 593 by Howard, recognizing September 23rd, 2023 as Fourth Trimester Care Day.
The chair recognizes Ms. Howard to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to recognize in the northeast corner, I believe it is, representatives of the Physical Therapy Association who brought this resolution to me. Members, H.R. 593 would recognize the importance of care in the months following birth or during what is known as the fourth trimester of pregnancy. The fourth trimester is just as important for a mother's health as the first 3 trimesters. Postpartum care sets the stage for lifelong health and well-being, yet this is often when mothers have the least interaction with their healthcare team. During the first 3 months after giving birth, people undergo significant physical, hormonal, and psychosocial changes. It is vital that women receive mental, physical, social, and economic support throughout the postpartum period. This is a critical time for new moms and families. Fourth Trimester Care Day seeks to recognize and raise the awareness of the importance of this ongoing mental and physical care, and to encourage all Texans to learn more about the full extent of postpartum care. Mr. Speaker, I move adoption.
The question occurs on the adoption of the resolution. The objection, the chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes Ms. Thury for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider H.R. 667.
Members, you heard the motion. There's objection. The chair hears none, and the rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 667 by Thury, commending Bobby Cohen for her service to the Greater Houston section of the National Council of Jewish Women.
The chair recognizes Ms. Thury to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I come before you today to honor Ms. Bobby Cohen, my constituent. She is a remarkable individual who has dedicated her life to advancing the causes of marginalized communities. Ms. Bobby's unwavering commitment to social justice has been evident in her participation in countless demonstrations where she has been a powerful voice for the voiceless. Her advocacy work has been an inspiration to many, and she has inspired so many individuals to take action and make a difference. Ms. Cohen has been an active member of the Greater Houston section of the National Council of Jewish Women, an organization that promotes justice through education and legislative advocacy. She's been a fierce advocate for more than 50 years, and we want to celebrate and salute her. She's my constituent. She's standing up there. I want to wave to you, Ms. Bobby Cohen. Thank you for your work. Your unwavering dedication to justice has been an inspiration to us all. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I move adoption.
The question occurs on the adoption of the resolution. There's objection. The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes Mr. Tallarico for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, members, I move to suspend all necessary rules and take up House Resolution 806.
Members, you heard the motion's objection. The chair hears none, and the rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 806 by Tallarico, commemorating Library Day in the state of Texas.
The chair recognizes Mr. Tallarico to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, today is Library Day in the state of Texas. In July 1900, the first public library in Texas, named after Central Texas physician Dr. Eugene Clark, opened just 40 minutes south of this building and continues to operate and serve the people of Lockhart today. My first job in high school was serving in our public library, put stuff on the shelves, helping people check out. Also a former language arts teacher, so libraries are very important to me. Libraries provide the tools to help us understand each other better. For every story allows the reader to compare, contrast, and celebrate our uniqueness. And while we know that all of us are here today to celebrate libraries, we want to recognize those in the gallery that serve in our libraries every day. Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Move passage.
The question occurs in the adoption of resolutions. Objection, the chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes Mr. Reynolds for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request permission to introduce a House bill relating to the service area of the Houston Community College System District.
Members, you heard the motion. Is objection, the chair hears none. Members, this requires a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Mr. Burr is voting aye. Mr. Tinderholt voting aye. Busey voting aye. Ms. Ordez voting aye. Mr. Smith voting aye. Mr. Jatam voting aye. Ms. Weiner voting aye. Mr. Waller voting aye. Members, you can vote from your desk. Ms. Meza voting aye. Ms. Ortega voting aye. All members voting. There have been 145 ayes and 0 nays. Permission to introduce is granted. The chair recognizes Mr. Murr for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I request permission to introduce a House bill relating to authorizing certain cities to change the date on which their general election for officers is held.
Members, this motion requires a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Mr. Murr voting aye. Mr. Smith voting aye. Mr. Wally voting aye. Have all members voted? There have been 144 ayes and 0 nays. Permission to introduce is granted. The chair recognizes Mr. Munoz for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Today, I'd like to congratulate Representative Guerra on the birth of his second grandson. Members, if you could give him a round of applause. And congratulations, Representative. Chairman, Roberto Fernando. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, we're about to begin consideration of our first daily calendar. I would like to remind you the procedures for consideration of bills on a calendar. The author has 20 minutes to open debate and 20 minutes to close debate on the bill. All other speeches are limited to 10 minutes. Members must confine the remarks to the matter currently before the House. If the House is considering an amendment, remarks must relate to the amendment or how the amendment affects the bill. And as a reminder, members cannot pass between the front mic and the back mic while we are in the midst of debate. Thank you, members. The chair lays out on second reading HB 446. The clerk will read the bill.
HB 446 by Craddock, relating to the terminology used in statute to refer to intellectual disability and certain references to abolish health and human services agencies.
The chair recognizes Mr. Craddock to explain the bill.
Mr. Speaker, members, thank you for hearing about this bill today. Currently, Texas statute uses an offensive and outdated term of mentally retarded when referring to individuals with intellectual disabilities. For any of us who have had the privilege to live, work, or interact with someone who has such a disability, we know firsthand how important they are to our communities. We have a responsibility in Texas to update these statutes and remove this technology. In 2010, the Congress of the United States unanimously adopted Rosa's Law, which eliminated the R word, retarded, from the federal statutes. And what this bill basically does, it's a 50-page bill, and I appreciate the Calendars Committee and all the people that were on the committee that heard this. And Jeff Leach, I think we were the first bill he ever voted out right after they heard it. We appreciate it. This bill is here today, and I think is long overdue and should have been done years ago. And I do have a cleanup amendment that we found that we need to lay out real quickly, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Craddock sent up an amendment. The following amendment, the clerk will read the amendment.
Are you all for or against?
Amendment by Craddock.
The chair recognizes Mr. Craddock to explain the amendment.
Thank you. Thanks for Mr. Speaker, members, this amendment, back when Legislative Council worked on it, the word severe was in 7 places in the statutes, and we missed that, and this amendment just takes that word out and goes back to where it doesn't doing away with mental retardation and use the intellectual disabilities. I move adoption.
Mr. Craddock sends up an amendment. The amendment is acceptable to the authors of the objection to the adoption amendment. Chair hears none. The amendment is adopted. The chair recognizes Mr. Craddock to close on the bill.
Mr. Speaker, members, this is our first bill of the session, and I think it's very important, and it does what should have been done years ago, and I ask you to vote aye. Thank you.
The question occurs on the passing and engrossment of HB 446. The objection, chair hears none. HB 446 is passed on engrossment. The chair lays out on second reading HB 300. The clerk will read the bill.
HB 300 by Howard, relating to an exemption from sales and use taxes for certain family care items.
The chair recognizes Ms. Howard to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. House Bill 300 has been many years in the making. It began, as most good bills do, through a conversation with a constituent who brought the issue of period poverty to my attention, followed by another constituent who raised the issue of the diaper tax. From there, these ideas have grown into a more robust set of policy changes than originally envisioned and has led to the bill that is before you today. HB 300, also known as the Tax-Free or Family Relief for Everyday Essentials Bill, is the culmination of years of work and collaboration. I've personally worked on this issue in some capacity since 2017. However, I've not been alone in these efforts. Authors of similar measures, many of whom are up here today, Representative Button, Representative Niave Criado, Representative Wu, Representative Harris, and Representative Theory, have all had similar pieces of legislation. HB 300 would help Texans by alleviating part of the financial burden they have when they're purchasing some of the essential products that they need to take care of their families. HB 300 would provide a sales and use tax exemption for diapers, baby wipes, baby bottles, feminine hygiene products, maternity clothes, and breast milk pumping products. To put this into perspective, the potential impact of this bill, I want to walk you through what it would look like in practice. Imagine a family in your district. They are part of the 9 million Texans who live at or just above the federal poverty line and are about to welcome a newborn to their family. They're a family of 3 making approximately $40,000 before taxes. Like many in our districts, they would likely head to the local Walmart to purchase what they need to start their new families. Imagine they purchased a month's worth of diapers, a month's worth of wipes, a supply of baby bottles, a week's worth of pads for when they're menstruating, a couple of nursing bras to easily breastfeed or pump, a couple of sets of maternity clothes, and as they are carefully watching their pennies, one of the least expensive portable breast pumps so that the mom will be able to continue breastfeeding and giving breast milk to her baby once she returns to work. For this one-time shopping event, they would spend roughly $350 before taxes and pay an additional $28.72 in sales taxes. And of course, several of these items would be recurring expenses. $28.72 may not seem a lot to some, but for this family, it represents a couple of days of food, a package of diapers, a tank of gas to get to work, or a portion of the many other expenses they may have. So this is just one example of hardworking Texas families trying to make ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck. This bill provides an opportunity to help Texas families at every stage of life. HB 300 would make Texas the 24th state to implement a sales tax exemption for menstrual products, the 12th to exempt diapers, and the first state to pass a sales tax exemption for the everyday essential products listed in the bill. With that, Mr. Speaker, I move passage.
Any member who wants to speak for, against, or on the bill? The chair hears none. The question occurs on passage to engrossment of House Bill 300. Any objection? The chair hears none. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. The ayes have it. HB 300 is passed to engrossment. The chair lays out on second reading HB 590. The clerk will read the bill.
HB 590 by Bales relating to the labeling and sale of Texas honey.
The chair recognizes Mr. Bales to explain the bill.
Speaker, members, this bill is about honesty, truth in labeling, and consumer transparency. It's about, quite simply, doing what is right. The Texas Agricultural Code contains no standards for the truthful geographic labeling of honey. The blending or outright mislabeling of honey of a foreign product as Texas honey. Honey from different botanical sources present a great variation in chemical composition, physical properties, sensory attributes, and the association of honey quality and geographic origin does allow for the recognition of honey per its origin. This is about fairness and honesty to the Texas consumer. House Bill 590 does nothing to take away a single producer's ability to market their product or blend it as they see fit, though it does plainly state that the labeling of Texas honey should be just that.
Mr. Canales, for what purpose?
Gentleman yield for a question.
Would the gentleman yield for a question?
I yield.
The gentleman yields for a question.
So just appreciate that, Representative. You're aware that your bill would make it a Class B misdemeanor, a crime, if somebody mislabels honey, right?
Correct.
So you're making a criminal offense for honey.
This goes back to Chapter 131 of the Agricultural Code, consumer protection. We're not actually assigning the offense or the charge that's already in code that this would fall under, sir.
But it is going to change the rule, making it so your bill is going to make it a crime to do what you're saying.
It simply says there's negative consequence to being untruthful in the labeling of honey.
I'm just clarifying it makes it a crime.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, I move passage.
The following amendment, the clerk will read the amendment.
Amendment by Bell of Montgomery.
The chair recognizes Mr. Bell of Montgomery to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I hope you'll listen to me just a minute. I think this bill is not a bad bill inherently, but I do think that if we don't pay attention to what's going on, we could have some consequences. I didn't even have an idea that honey or the production of honey might be a challenge for any of my constituents until I received a call from two of mine, Miss Lisa Hyder and Wendy Reeder with the Reed family honey producers in Magnolia, Texas. And they informed me that we have over 157,000 colonies across Texas, bee colonies, which means it's very likely this bill affects constituents of yours who may not know to call you yet. And if passed, it does benefit perhaps a particular subset of the honey producers in Texas, but it also has the effect of creating winners and losers if you don't produce enough honey as a small mom and pop business to fully supply your product. I believe this amendment preserves the spirit of the bill while making sure that we protect our constituents from unintended consequences. And I respectfully...
Mr. Harrison, for what purpose?
Does the gentleman yield for questions on the
gentleman
amendment?
yield for questions.
Gentleman yields.
Gentleman yields.
Thank you, Representative. Like you, I appreciate the goal that Representative Bales has explained to us regarding the purpose of his bill. But like you, I've got a constituent that I think perhaps unintentionally could get caught up in a bill like this that was perhaps overly broad in the way that it's tailored. So you said you've got a constituent, I've got a constituent. Is it possible that many of our colleagues on the floor also have constituents that could be impacted by a bill like this?
Representative, I believe it's absolutely true that every single member sitting on this floor could have a constituent that will be negatively impacted if we don't pass this amendment.
So given that the majority, perhaps all of our colleagues on the floor may have a business that could be impacted, I'm curious about how. Is it possible it could actually harm the profitability of honest, hardworking small businesses in the state of Texas?
Absolutely. The economic impact to your constituents and mine who happen to be in the honeybee producing business, honey business, if they don't have enough honey to sell their product under this change to law, what the effect would be is it would reduce their business to solely the amount they're able to generate. So if 30% of their honey is blended, today, when we pass this law, we set in place the process that will drop their business volume by 30%. So if they have 40%, it'll drop it by 40%. So absolutely, this bill, if we don't amend it, and I'm going to ask members to support this amendment, but if we don't amend it, that's what
So
will
without
happen.
the amendment, if one of the small businesses in our districts makes a honey and it's got 99.9% Texas honey in it, would they be committing a crime under the bill as written? If they label it, if they tell people that it is Texas honey.
Canals did a great job of also pointing out the fact that if this bill passes the way it's drafted, it could have the consequence of making your constituents and mine criminals by virtue of the fact that they label their honey that they sell as Texas honey.
So it would make somebody who has a bill. So just to be clear, it would make small businesses across Texas, many of them, into criminals for doing nothing more than making and selling Texas honey. Is that correct? Without the amendation you're proposing?
Absolutely, it has that potential to make every single constituent who produces honey a criminal.
And it would be
unless we amend it.
And as I read it, it would be a Class B misdemeanor. Do you know what the maximum penalty for a Class B misdemeanor is?
Representative, I think if we don't amend this bill, we take every one of our constituents and place them in the possible condition where they're subject to 180 days in state jail.
So how many of our constituents do you think we should subject to and potentially fill up Texas prisons who have done nothing more than make and sell Texas honey?
I do not have that number off the top of my head, but I would say that if we have one in jail for producing Texas honey for 180 days, that's more than we need to have in jail for producing Texas honey.
Well, like you, sir, I do not believe Texas prisons is a place for small businesses trying to honestly earn a living in the state of Texas. I think you have proposed a very good and thoughtful amendment, and I would urge my colleagues to support your amendment. Thank you, Representative.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I move passage.
The chair recognizes Mr. Bales to speak in opposition to the amendment.
Members, while I truly appreciate the sentiment and the heartfelt sincerity of Representative Bell and also Representative Harrison, I think we're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. This is about truth and honesty. This same individual actually came to our committee. He said, you know what, we have extreme weather conditions, we may have a drought, we may not produce enough honey to fill our needs in the state of Texas. My business is in production agriculture. If we have a drought, it gets dry, and I have cattle that are grazing on grass for grass-fed beef. I run out of grass. I start feeding those same animals grain. It is no longer grass-fed beef. That's as simple as this gets. This is about what it means to be a Texan, what this body supports, and we are better than simply saying it should be predominantly and dilute ourselves just for the almighty dollar when we know what we should be doing and what is right. So I respectfully ask you guys to oppose this amendment so that we can keep this a good bill for the state of Texas. Oppose.
The chair recognizes Mr. Bell and Montgomery to close on the amendment.
Members, I greatly appreciate the time we spent on this morning. I did want to point out I've had several people ask me what this amendment does. If you look at line 9, it strikes the word exclusively and substitutes it for predominantly. You still have to have, in order to label it as Texas honey, you still have to be producing Texas honey. This just makes sure that all those concerns that we've talked about before, putting our constituents in jail for 180 days who happen to be honey producers because they sold inventory under the brand of Texas honey, because they perhaps blended honey, whatever the circumstances are, I appreciate the bill. I think it's a good bill with this amendment. Move passage.
The question occurs in the adoption amendment. This is a division vote. A record vote has been requested. A record vote has been granted. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Mr. Harris voting nay, Mr. Guerin voting nay, Mr. Bales voting nay, Mr. Bell and Montgomery voting aye, Mr. Holland voting nay. All members voted. Have all members voted? There being 30 ayes and 108 nays, the amendment fails to adopt. Any member wish to speak for, against, or on the bill? Hearing none, the chair recognizes Mr. Bales to close on the bill.
Mr. Speaker, I close.
The question occurs in the adoption of HB 590. All in favor vote aye. Say yay. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. HB 590 is passed to engrossment. The chair lays out on second reading HB 608. The clerk will read the bill.
HB 608 by Shaheen relating to the sale of fireworks before and during the Diwali holiday.
The chair recognizes Mr. Shaheen to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, House Bill 608 seeks to give county commissioners' courts the authority to allow the purchase of fireworks for Diwali, which is a festival of lights celebration celebrated with fireworks. This is a very popular holiday for our Indian communities. In Texas, county commissioners' courts have discretion to permit the sale of fireworks for certain holidays, including Texas Independence Day, San Jacinto Day, etc. So House Bill 608 would allow them to authorize the sale of fireworks 5 days before Diwali. This bill is permissive. Mr. Speaker, I move passage.
The question occurs in passing and engrossment of HB 608. All in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. HB 608 is passed to engrossment. The chair recognizes Mr. Bryant for a recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to draw the House's attention to 90 high school students from Dallas and Tarrant County who are all about getting out the vote, sitting up here in the gallery. Please give them a welcome. Stand up, guys. Yeah.
Members, the speaker's desk is clear. If you have any announcements, please bring them down front. Mr. Metcalf moves the House adjourned until 10 a.m. Wednesday. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and the House stands adjourned.